Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Dietitian Life. We tell you about our weeks. So the last week and a bit has been quite interesting, quite busy, freaking crazy to be honest. Post-holidays is always a bit crazy for me, but then also adding that to the fact that we've got like 7 jobs going, trying to get through all interviews and all that. But we'll start back from the start. I went to a conference, Success Resources it was called. It was basically some kind of business conference. I had no interest in all of the talks other than the main man, Gary Vee, which you've probably already heard about from Instagram.
If you haven't, you need to.
Yeah, and you'll probably see some similarities, hopefully. Basically, met with the guy, I had dinner with him, which is a ridiculous opportunity and something that's not given to many people. So that was really awesome just to talk about different things. There was a few of us there, but we had the opportunity to ask our questions. I asked more questions than what I thought. I asked questions around staff in particular, culture, hiring and firing process, and then also around some of the changes and strategies that we're going to be implementing over the next, or what we've been trying to implement and going to implement over the next 6 to 12 months. So that was good to get his feedback.
So was it feedback or validation?
Validation. It was just more of a pat on the back. It's like, yeah, that's actually the right thing to do. And when a guy like that tells you that that's smart, I was like, yeah, good. Had a little win. And Peter knows I don't really get excited about much, but that felt pretty good. To feel like I actually knew what I was talking about and read the situation right. So that was good. Then we had the DAA Queensland Symposium. As you've probably seen, hopefully you've seen my reflection video on my talk. So for those that didn't see it, I basically talked about the journey in business, then went through how to start your business in kind of a metaphorical standpoint, because 25 minutes is not enough time to teach you how to start and run a business. It was well received, had quite a few people come up. Peter calls them fangirls. I was calling people interested. But yeah, people didn't really particularly like getting called fangirls.
Oh, one person.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say hi. I'm like, I'm kind of fanning a little bit.
It's still a fangirl.
I was reading all that body language.
Peter was jealous. She wanted all the fangirls. But you got heaps during the breaks. You got asked.
It's not the same.
Heaps of students hit her up.
Everyone agreed at the conference. It's first one I've been to in a while, run by DAA, that there was so much clinical derived information. Pretty much, it was very, and it wasn't very, it wasn't very broad scoped, I guess. So maybe reflecting on that, the feedback I gave to them was that exactly. But there were some really good talks at the end of the day, yours included.
At the same time, I think the morning session, it was all hospital related, but then when they separated into the different streams, they had a particular private practice aspect a little bit there, like with Kids Dig Food and Peter Carriage about talking about sports nutrition. So I think there's some, and
and then IBD after that as well too.
Yeah. So
I think when it comes to these things, it's not always about the content. The content doesn't matter as much as the delivery, and the afternoon delivery rocked. It really changes my experience when I'm sitting there and I really actually want to listen to the person. Whether they're talking about something boring or not, or irrelevant to me and my learning, if it's delivered in a really good way. Like the first speaker was awesome. It was a very hard topic, I think, to talk about, but I think she delivered it really well. Future of healthcare.
Oh,
I'm so keen to get my automated 3D delivered pills to me.
Ready to go on the toilet and then your bowel.
That's it. You've got ulcerative colitis. Take this tablet.
I reckon it gets to the point it's just like, you need more fibre. Make sure you include
how cool is
2
that?
scoops of psyllium husk today.
Yeah, super interesting.
But that'll cut us out. There'll be no dietitian needed then. So something to be aware of. You might not have a job in 15 years.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Or 10 years.
That's okay.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so what did I take away from the comments here? I had a good opportunity to have a chat with CK Yao, which was really cool.
What did she talk about?
I've seen a lot of her research, but I haven't really seen her present in person. And you know how you have
what is her research on?
Inflammatory bowel disease, a majority of it. And at the moment, she's looking at a particular diet manipulating types of fibers to change someone's inflammation, and obviously catchphrasing the microbiome. But yeah, she's currently.
What did she say about the microbiome?
For funding, that it's cool, but it's so far away from being actually useful in healthcare at the moment, and that everyone's obsession with it is completely out of tune with what is actually, where research is actually at. And I had many a conversation to students about that as well too, and it's starting to become one of my least favourite topics to actually talk about, even though it shouldn't be, but it is, because people are misjudging where it's at. So everyone's getting really excited about the fact that the microbiome seems to be the new thing for all diseases, and every single thing, it's like the new thing, right? Yeah.
And satin haze.
Oh yeah,
microbiome to fix all disease, and then haze to fix all weight management.
Yeah, pretty much. And every single disease can come back to their microbiome. But I find it completely ridiculous because, yeah, for sure, there's a lot of factors that play there, but it changes. So my microbiome will look different next week because I might decide I don't want to eat legumes this week, and I might forget to have a piece of fruit every day, and so next week it might look different. And so if they're doing fecal sampling and they're looking at associations and say, okay, these healthy people have this quantity of X, Y, and Z bacteria, so therefore they must be the right ones. It's not as clear cut as that, and that's where people are. And she was talking about all these inappropriate labs that are actually then going and diagnosing or telling people what species they have in their poo, and then as a consequence of that, identifying that they're either healthy or not. But there's no treatment pathway to that. So just because you may not have this bacterial species literally means nothing. It means nothing because we don't have good quality research in humans, and that takes a long time. And the issue is that if, say, people then start taking all these different probiotics, and they need to ramp up this species because all of a sudden they're going to get diabetes if they don't have it. Remember, it's not that clear cut. That people probably end up with ridiculous populations of bacteria in their gut and end up with worse conditions as well.
Didn't she say it's like 10 years off? At least before, 10 to 15 years before the microbiome's kind of even remotely understood to a level that we can utilise it.
Yeah, it's like gene mapping and looking at SNPs. And that was another thing that was like, duh. People were like, oh, it's really interesting. Let's map the genome and let's tell people that because they have a variant of a gene, that all of a sudden they can't absorb folate.
She basically said it was bullshit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what CKL was saying, and she's in the midst of research looking at gut markers of inflammation and the like. So be very wary of jumping along that bandwagon, and whilst it's really interesting and cool, get in and do the research, I think.
The science not there yet, so...
Yeah, 100%. It's the same as then appropriately recommending a probiotic. It does not exist. You can just go, you know what, have a broad spectrum, high strength, potency one that's going to actually reach the bowel, but if they're going to take it and their diet's crap, well then it's not going to work.
And she poo-pooed a little bit probiotics in that respect. She says, like, in IBS it can be useful, but for IBD there's absolutely no use whatsoever. So people were asking from the audience whether or not they feel, and she's like, no, there's nothing that she's done in any of her research or any of the research that she's read around probiotics assisting IBD, but IBS there's obviously some. But
yeah, so definitely really interesting.
And then Peta had a little personal conversation with her post that.
Yeah.
So it was good. Share her feels for our clinical mind. So
which for you, like me, yeah, that's right. My clinical stuff is all about going, oh yeah, you agree with me. Cool, we're in this space.
Affirmation, yeah, confirmation of knowledge is always nice.
100%.
Like I'm doing this by myself, and I've been doing it by myself for this long. Am I right? Yes, I am. Yeah. So yeah, and then. And
you and I drove back. We had chats. You had long chats with people after the event as well,
Yeah.
including those that are in decent positioning within our industry, which is really
Yeah,
cool.
so I had that reflection video. Talked a little bit. Did I talk about it? I don't know.
I don't think you talked about.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I talked with someone who is associated with DAA on to, what can I say without saying things? Basically,
Professionalism, kind of.
no, it's more around what I was going to say around their standing. So they work at a university. They also are involved, I think, with the committee, the organising committee, especially for the national conference. Talked about the possibility of wanting me to talk there, but for me to get to that point, I would need to change slightly. And as you all know,
remove these.
I wanted to feel pretty.
Tuck my head in.
And I hadn't done it haven't put them in for 24 months. And I just had this feeling yesterday.
You didn't even wear them when I first met you.
I know, that's what I mean.
Things weren't different ones in.
No, these are them.
No.
Yeah, this is them. This is them. 100%.
I'm sure you had a
100%.
stretcher.
That's, no.
3 years ago?
No, I took stretches out at uni, before uni.
I feel like I would have judged them early. I think I did judge you early.
Adam's going to make a gif of that.
Looks like a cow.
Yeah, she thinks I look like a bull. It's not like it's friggin' from my nose. It's not a septum piercing. Jeez, calm down. Country bumpkins, these ones. Yeah, so basically just talking around my language and my battle, I guess, or our battle with DAA and the issues that we feel they have and how we feel it needs to change. Just going about that in a slightly different way while remaining very genuine and true to myself. So we'll see if that eventuates into anything, but appreciated the feedback regardless. If it doesn't come, I don't really give a shit, to be honest. But at the same time, it would be an amazing opportunity. So can do without it, but it would be awesome if I get the opportunity. Moving on. What else we did? Talked about, well, there's a bit of stuff that come up this week about professionalism in the workplace. So given that we're at scale, we're working with a lot of people, internal and external to the organisation. Pera and I have had chats about not only communication between staff, but also, the work or quality of work, then also friendships or not friendships or relationships outside of stuff. So yeah, we still don't know how we go there. But for me, just from a personal standpoint, I don't have anyone from the company, not even Peter on Facebook. I've got Wexy, who was my friend for many years prior to working for us. But other than that, there's no one, because I kind of cut that line from a professional standpoint to separate slightly, because I feel like the lines can get blurred very quickly, and I really think of it from the other end of the spectrum, as I don't want to be friends with someone and they feel like they need to change their posting because I'm their friend on Facebook, like someone hiding who they are because they feel like I might judge them, or even though I won't.
I don't even think it's that.
No, but it's my person. That's why. You don't get to decide if it's that. What do you think it is then? Why don't I have anyone? Exactly. So what I just said is correct. That is why I don't have anyone.
No, I think you just want to have that point of distance.
Yeah, but then that's second. And it's just having a distance. So then, yeah, it's still a professional relationship.
And protecting yourself to a certain extent as well, just because you don't know. And we've had this conversation about trust and how far that actually goes. And it takes a long time to build trust with your friends, let alone people that you work with. And whilst we always want to think the best of everybody, you fucking can't predict what happens. Seriously, it happens. And I think we always want to think the best of people, but I think in this professional space, there are boundaries, and I think Tyson's right. I guess I hadn't, I probably, when I was practicing, I was having more issues, and I had someone hit me up this week around that line and that boundary between clients and practitioners.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of
Not
is...
a chance I'm having a client.
Yeah, and it's the same issue. So if your client hits you up to be a Facebook friend, or they're messaging through you through Facebook, and you think it's okay to actually accept that, and then potentially engage backwards and forwards, that is definitely not okay. I mean, fair if you've known them before and they've come and seen you as a client, well, then that's a different thing. I would still feel a little bit...
they saw you a client, they're no longer your client, and then it's a year on, and then you have some kind of friendship.
But whilst you're actively engaged in them, and the other would be if at some stage you felt that it's taken a leap beyond them just being nice to you, and they actually are, I think, being females, trying their best to start some sort of relationship with you as well, which has been a problem in the past for myself as well, and other practitioners I've had the same sort of communications with. So I think, degrees of separation are really, really important. You need to establish what that is for you. And we're not saying definitely not be friends with the staff or the people that you work with, but just remember and realise that it potentially could be a little bit grey. And even if you're concerned about some things, have a chat to your mentor, hit us up. I think those lines are really great, and we're still trying to work out what that is. You've got your solid view on what that might look like. But depending on what your role is, and what you want them to see and what you want them to be a part of, I think it's an interesting discussion. So we'd like to hear your thoughts on it, if you have any.
Like, even when I worked in a private hospital when I was an employee, it got a little bit awkward, and I know it can get awkward when people who were part of the team, like multidisciplinary team or nurses or whatever, that would try and add you as a friend and then not accepting them. It does get a little bit awkward, but if you go across the board no, then it's easier than if you are selective and like, oh, I'm okay with that person, sees shit, but I don't want that one, because then it's, the work stuff gets super blurred, and then you get these relationship shifts, and it's just not fun. So I just made it easy, but then at the same time, I've never been someone that hangs out with people outside of work, from work. Some people are very much that, and sometimes that's really good from a team cohesion standpoint, but given the position that I'm in, and I think Peter's been finding it this year, having to separate slightly, because sometimes you have to have that different level of respect or separation so that you can actually do our jobs.
Because you do want to be relatable.
You want to be friendly, and you want to be their friend to a degree, but
that's
internal to the...
when it kind of stops. And I've always... I think in friendships that I've had, and you probably would be similar, I would be the type of person that would kind of take charge or be a little bit of a leader within that friend group. And I think it kind of still falls into that same category. So for me, it's really easy to kind of then take that step back and kind of go, yeah, I'll be a friend then, in a not a mean way, but yeah, I'll be a friend there and we'll do what I need to do, but I'm here. It's kind of, it's hard thing to communicate.
Right, the other thing we're having trouble with this week is scheduling difficulties. So trying to figure out how to put all the interviews in. Yesterday was a bit of a clusterfuck of fun.
It mostly worked out.
Mostly worked out, but it screwed up my schedule a little bit, and I got a little bit frustrated, I'll be honest, because I let Peter do my schedule for yesterday and today. So PA was my PA for 2 days. I just wanted to see her face by saying that. So that's been interesting, but we got through and doing 30 minutes.
So moving forward, we think Tyson needs to actually have a calendar.
I've got a calendar
that you use.
Yeah, I've got one in my head. And then sometimes it's on a to-do list on a piece of paper, and sometimes it's on my calendar at home for my trips and stuff like that. But yeah, if someone wants to be my calendar person, and if you fuck up, just be very aware that I'm going to come down on you.
I have to take screenshots of what you're doing to remember
photos. Screenshots.
What are you doing? Okay, where's Tyson?
Photo.
He hates having the same question asked multiple times, and I know that I will forget it if I don't take a photo and then refer back to it. So a calendar could be very useful.
How'd you go yesterday when I asked, when's the next interview? Oh shit.
It has to be in front of me. It's not something that I've committed to memory. So many.
And then probably the last thing we'll leave that. We'll leave that. 20 minutes is enough for Dietitian Life. We'll answer some more questions that we've had this week in Dear Dietitian. Talk soon.